Welcome back. President-elect Trump is making a list, and he's checking it twice. He's finding out which country is naughty or nice for America's interest. In a Christmas Day message, he says, quote, "Merry Christmas to all, including the wonderful soldiers of China who are lovingly but illegally operating the Panama Canal." Of course, Panama denies that. Regardless, Trump has been laser focused on getting back the key waterway that the United States built before Jimmy Carter gave it away. Watch.
We're being ripped off at the Panama Canal like we're being ripped off everywhere else. A secure, he just said take it back. That's a good idea. The fees being charged by Panama are ridiculous, highly unfair, especially knowing the extraordinary generosity that has been bestowed to Panama, I say very foolishly, by the United States. This complete ripoff of our country will immediately stop. It's going to stop.
Yeah, and he wasn't done yet. Trump was also trolling Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, offering our neighbors to the north a 60% tax cut if they agree to join the U.S. and become the 51st state. He's even urging hockey legend Wayne Gretzky to run for, quote, Governor of Canada and unseat Justin Trudeau. And to wrap up his Art of the Deal holiday message, the president-elect made a sales pitch to the people of Greenland, which need the U.S. for national security purposes and who want the U.S. to be there. And he says, and we will. Doc, I'll go to you first on this. In all seriousness, we use the word trolling. It's probably what he's doing. But it's also a president who says things and then kind of does them. So when he talks about Canada, I don't know that he wants them to become the 51st state, but this is on the heels of the trade arguments and some of the things happening. It looks like a conservative may unseat Justin Trudeau. Is this playing maybe chess, not checkers?
Well, you know, after this week, I kind of thought to myself, like, oh, Canada, Greenland, Panama. Oh, my, it's a lot happening this week. And I know people get worked up when he speaks like this. It kind of reminds me sometimes during COVID where I felt like, let me press a pause and try to explain what he's saying. So I had to do some of that myself because I'm like, why is he saying these things about Greenland and Canada? Like, I don't even know. So I really looked into it, and I understand why he's actually talking about these. And so I'm going to share what I have learned with everyone else. So when you think about Canada, in 2023, 85% of our land border encounters with people on the terrorist watch list came from our northern border, from Canada. That it is the longest land border in the entire world. So President Trump has essentially been saying over and over again that they have a very loose border up there. And because of that, we are seeing crime in the United States. And in fact, up until recently, Canada didn't require a visa to enter the country. And so it was even being promoted on social media for illegal immigrants down in Mexico or wherever to go to Canada, gain access, they didn't need a visa, and then come down into the United States, and hence why we continue to see the biggest problem that we have in the United States. Canada, okay. Greenland, I have to assume it has something to do with Russia and gaining control over the Arctic Circle and also a big international security. So, okay, I can see what he's saying there. And then Panama, I mean, that one's a little bit easy. Obviously, in 2017, Panama decided to cut diplomatic ties with Taiwan, showing their allegiance to China. China uses Panama Canal second just to the United States. And so this is all where we stand on the international stage. And Trump has vowed to make us strong again. And I see all of this, and maybe it's a little bit of rhetoric and trolling on social media, but I think he's doing. Biden said he wanted to be a leader on the international stage, but Trump's actually trying to do it, and he's not even president yet.
Katie, she talks about Greenland, and we talked about this morning on Fox and Friends that is a pretty strategic push towards an area that will. Russia is hostile right now. Greenland makes sense. I don't know that we can buy it, but what do you think?
Well, Russia and China have been working together in the Arctic.
Yeah.
They're trying to pursue resources there. China calls itself a near-Arctic country, which is baloney. They're not an Arctic country, but they're trying to weasel their way in so they can extort minerals and land and waterways that becomes available to them. So that is a Greenland play for sure. The other thing about the Panama Canal, and everyone's saying, oh, it's crazy that Trump would want to retake the Panama Canal. Well, we actually have a treaty with Panama. It's a neutrality treaty about the canal when we handed over management in the 90s to the Panamanian government. And it says that the United States reserves the military right to go back in and take control of the canal if they don't uphold the neutrality clause of the way people can use it, making sure there aren't discriminatory fees, as Trump has talked about, that people are being charged too much. And if you look at the way that China is operating in the canal as part of their Belt and Road Initiative all over the world, they are owners of ports, they are owners of companies that are building in the canal, and they're not just using it to make sure that their goods are shipped through. Of course, China uses these things for spying and other espionage.
Yeah.
So these are national security plays, and in Trump fashion, they're pretty funny too when you read what he says.
Tom, growing up when I heard about the Panama Canal, I always wondered where in the Redneck Riviera it's set, because I only ever knew about Panama City, Florida.
Yeah.
And that does feel like a foreign country sometimes, and it's a place that a lot of things are trafficked through. But Katie makes a good point. She talks about this treaty and the technicality of it. That's not Trump's forte. That's not how he communicates. Does he miss when he brings stuff up like this and doesn't add that in, which you have to believe is influencing his commentary?
It's show business. This is the Trump-splaining. People often go to policy, but it's showbiz. I'm in showbiz, breaking into show business. You had to send out your headshots. You had to go for things that were impossible. I would try to get, in movies, I would go to the open calls for Broadway. Were they going to cast Little Tom Shalhoub on Broadway? No, but you've got to shoot big to get any kind of thing. I remember going to a casting director. I wanted to get cast in Batman Forever. Can I get a role in Batman Forever? And the casting director, what are you kidding me? But they ended up calling me, and they gave me a job as Jim Carrey's body double.
There you go.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and I zipped up that suit, the Joker suit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Too skinny for the Joker suit. They sent me home the same day. But I got in the trailer. Okay, so this is what you do in showbiz. When he's doing these things, Greenland, Canada, the Panama Canal, he's pitching. This is what you do when you pitch.
Yeah.
That's your Hollywood pitch. And then maybe you get to be the body double, but you get something out of the deal.
Jessica, how disgusted were you when you read that tweet? Yes. And you saw that President Trump was wishing a Merry Christmas to those Chinese soldiers that are very much probably not Christian. I mean, that had to be, that is so uninclusive. And the
Not Christian and
antithesis.
also not there. It was a double whammy.
That was a
I was
Jesse
not
asked
offended.
question, Joey. Jesse
It
asked.
was. I appreciate it. Feels just like home.
Oh, good. Good.
No, I was more interested in page 2, which got to the radical left lunatics, where I'm much more at home in all of this. I would like to believe, and I do want to compliment everyone at the table, as I do whenever Jim Comer has a hearing and Jesse and Janine explain to me what he's actually trying to say versus what's happening. You guys do a much better job of explaining what's going on than the president-elect, who's just trying to get a Netflix deal, I guess, right? You would not,
Who's trying to get
if
Greenland.
there was a liberal troll who was about to become the most powerful person in the entire world again, I doubt that you would be so jovial about it. And it's the holidays, and we should all laugh and have a lot of fun. But the point is that you can't take him that seriously, and I don't know if that's the best recipe for commander-in-chief. Now, the transition team declined to clarify if these statements were genuine or not. So I imagine that he hasn't updated them, texted them, bugle horned out to the front of Mar-a-Lago, wherever they're sitting, to say, no, I'm serious about Panama, not so serious about Greenland, I'll get back to you. There is a way to push sovereign nations to get more of what you want, which is what happened with NATO, right? Where he said, I don't really care if you want to be in the picture with me, I'm going to huff into the corner, but you're going to pay an extra 2%. And he got that from a lot of countries. Looking at the reactions from the Panamanian government, from the Danes, it doesn't seem like they are interested in playing ball with him right now. Now, it is early. He's not even president again. But the Republicans who have to go on TV and defend this, and not you guys who can translate it, I'm talking about Congressman Zinke was on, earlier, and he's talking about, this is a serious fellow, right? He was Interior Secretary. He's like, the 4D chess or whatever, and, he's a master negotiator or whatever. These are things that they don't necessarily want to talk about. They have deliverables that they want to bring back for the people who sent them there. I mean, Donald Trump ran as a non-interventionist. If all this goes through, it sounds pretty intervention-y.
Jessica, are you for or against Manifest Destiny, Greenland, and Panama, and maybe Canada? That's really the question.
I am not. Listen, I guess the southern border isn't as big of a problem. We also learned that. It's the northern border that's the problem. But no, I'm not. I think
he's going to fix the southern border.
I think it's already
fixable.
fixed, right? We got the cheap auction items. I just don't think that it helps anyone to insult Justin Trudeau to this level. You can
flew
say
to
you need to
Mar-a-Lago.
work.
He flew right down there, had a meeting.
Well, he also wants to win his reelection. But there are a lot of people that we deeply care about to our north. We get a ton from them. I mean, our construction industry would completely fall apart if we had the 25% tariffs and closing the border with Canada. And it's just not a serious.
I don't know.
Serious
The
thing to
Danes are sneaky, and they tried to sell us on this offshore wind that is ridiculous.
Now
so,
the Danes are sneaky.
So I don't blame him.
But they have sled
I'm glad
dogs.
he's pushing back. All right.